Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk about 5 characters in Marvel Future Fight that were amazing and still are amazing, but have fallen off in the last 6 months to a year because either other characters have taken their place, they've been countered in different game modes, or they just didn't have that much value, and what they had value in has been replaced by something new. Starting us off on the list is not going to be Namor. Some people have really tried to, or some people really think that Namor has fallen off because of Moon Knight, but he really hasn't. Namor's value is actually stronger than ever. While he may not be the best option anymore for the combat villain ABX day, he's still amazing for all kinds of content from World Boss to GBR, on top of the fact that for Danger Room Extreme, he may secretly be the best character, because on top of having insane raw damage and really fast charge up, he's got a 5th skill that buffs your teammates to increase their damage exponentially, and he's got a tier 3 that also buffs your teammates, and you can skip animations and skip different phases because of the iframe ignore on it and the, again, massive damage. So some people might say, I think Namor's fallen off, but he hasn't. Has he been replaced by someone more flexible for ABX? Yes, but that does not mean he's fallen off, at least not in the way that I'm thinking about it. Fallen off really means like they're just not used for much, if anything at all, whereas Namor is still used pretty much every day. Anytime I queue up with people, one person chooses Namor within the first 2 or 3 matches. I love choosing Namor for DRX. He still has tons of value for squad battle, world boss, GBR, etc. So, starting us off on the list for a character that has definitely fallen off. Think of the last time you saw this character used in any kind of content, whether it was PvE or PvP. Quicksilver. Now, the problem with Quicksilver really comes down to 2 things. One, for PvP, he really just got countered by characters coming out that would have both iframe ignore, which was really something that countered him very easily, and then characters also having a large spike of ignore dodge. That was basically the 2 things that made Quicksilver so deadly, was that he could chain iframes on 5 and 4, and then he has a base 45% guaranteed dodge. So you have 45% guaranteed dodge and 75% dodge. It's very hard to hit him consecutively when he's not in iframe, and he's in iframe most of the time, and then he's got that base 70% chance to penetrate. But then you have characters coming out like Silver Surfer, who not only has iframe ignore, but the iframe ignore gives him maybe the buff is not on this skill. Yeah, he doesn't have it on this skill, but he has it on another skill, I believe. He's got ignore dodge. No, okay, it's not Silver Surfer, but other characters like Odin, for example, his 4th skill, 100% ignore dodge for 5 seconds. That's gonna do it, right? He pops that 4th skill, and then he pops you with any other skill, and you're taking full damage. More specifically, or more direct counter was actually Colossus, who countered and kind of killed Quicksilver, because not only is he a combat type, so he has advantage typing, he can stay alive longer against Quicksilver, but he also has physical reflect, which Quicksilver will take damage for. But then that 5th skill, 100% ignore dodge, 100% penetration, all defense down, accumulation. This skill, Phoenix Maelstrom killed Quicksilver. In the realm of PvE content, I never see Quicksilver in DRX. I never see Quicksilver anymore for GBR. He's not bad for GBR. There are just better options. There are just better options out there. Speed characters suffer from having lower base stats than other characters. You can look at his base stats and realize, he barely has more HP than physical attack. And so speed characters really need those self buffs. That's what makes Rogue actually so good, because she has those juicy self buffs. He doesn't have that 40-40 all attack, all defense, 20% all speed, 40% crit rate. He doesn't have any of that, right? He needs one of those. He has accumulation and a heal and a dodge buff, which is nice. The accumulation really does help, but that's all he's got. All he's got is the accumulation. So the accumulation can help, and it does make him a little bit relevant, but he's just been overshadowed. No all defense down, none of those juicy self buffs to really bump up his base stats, and he's sort of fallen to the wayside in terms of use. And keep in mind, I have a CTP of Rage on him, and I don't use him for anything. I should probably test him out in Danger Room Extreme, but I don't expect big things from him. Another character that has fallen off massively is Sabertooth. This one's a little bit harder for me to explain, I'll admit. You can see Sabertooth has more HP than Quicksilver at tier 2 level 70, which is crazy. But anyways, does he have any HP, Uru? Okay, he's got 2, 3, 4. Okay, he's got 4 unamplified. But anyways, after the striker change back in February, March, where they changed the strikers, they goofed it up, we rioted, and they changed them again, and then they introduced the resist system. After that, Sabertooth just wasn't the same. I'm not exactly sure how to explain it. Unfortunately, the system is so convoluted in World Boss, and it's been changed so many times that Mr. Big Boots just couldn't keep up. And yeah, that's basically the whole story. Sabertooth never really had any value for other content besides World Boss. Sabertooth actually wasn't very good when he first came out with Juggernaut, but then he got this uncanny uniform, and they gave him that delicious charge up Animalistic Rush third skill, which goes up to -75 all defense down, which you can use a la Nimrod, although it takes a lot longer to charge up than Nimrod's, and it's easier to interrupt, unlike Nimrod's. And it also takes a lot longer to stack, unlike Nimrod's, right? It stacks -5, so you've got to hit, what, 15 times for it to stack up. So, yeah. But after the striker change, he never was the same. And so he just doesn't stack up his all defense down properly. He doesn't do as much damage anymore. He's still quite fragile despite the healing. And there's just way better combat types out now, and way better applications of all defense down, like Nimrod now. Third on the list, we have Amadeus Cho. Amadeus Cho is actually a recent rework, and Amadeus Cho is still a really, really good character. He's not a bad character at all, but just unlike some of the other characters on this list, for Cho, it's really just being replaced. Cho is not bad by any means necessary. Again, he's a good character. He's got great damage. He's got nice burst, and he's got that increased crit rate where it goes above 200%, which is always nice. This one right here on his uniform effect, but he was just missing a couple of those things that would make him an absolutely 100% complete character. And he does have kind of awkward cooldowns, 20 seconds here, 26 seconds here. If he had gotten a tier 3, now we know what we know about tier 3 charge up. His tier 3 charge up would have been Maniac, like Ghost Rider. But in the meantime, between Cho and now, we've gotten Moon Knight, and we've gotten, other characters, other combat types. And so it's really, Apocalypse's value has resurged. And so Cho, I feel like he's still used for Proxima, but maybe some people out there replaced him with Moon Knight, or are going to replace him with Blade or whatever. And so he just sort of starts to collect dust prematurely. Next up on the list, number 4, we have Captain Marvel. I've talked about this one on stream. It's actually really interesting. Captain Marvel was everywhere in the game. Everywhere. Everyone had Captain Marvel. Everyone has this uniform. Everyone was building Captain Marvel. And people still build her because she's given as a free 6-star, but she's nowhere near as dominant as she once was, as she was a year ago, or a year plus. It's not much more than a year and a half is when she got her uniform for her movie, and then she got her tweaked upgrade for Endgame. But really, the combination of being countered and being replaced, and also the game modes changing, is what killed Captain Marvel's usage rate from the player base. And again, Captain Marvel's not a bad character at all, but really the big thing for her in PvP was being able to one-shot a lot of characters by just using photon combo. And a lot of characters couldn't do anything because not a lot of characters had iframe ignore. Now iframe ignore is a lot more common, especially for PvP characters, and there are some very thick PvP boys who can actually withstand. They can sit there and tank the hits on photon combo. So you have characters like Hulk who can tank the hits and then clap back with his thunderclap, right? His gamma ray burst, but we all know it's the thunderclap. So that's a big counter. We know Silver Surfer counters Captain Marvel already, but then Dormammu is another problem for her, because not only does he have iframe ignore, but he has reflect. So then she's going to take reflect damage. So just a lot of counters for her in PvP, and just a lot of characters, like even if she couldn't kill them, right? Even if they didn't have iframe ignore, she couldn't kill them. So another big counter that a lot of people may not recognize for Captain Marvel was actually Colossus. Colossus came in and gave everyone 50% decreased damage from superheroes, right? For Peter's will. That crushed Captain Marvel's one-shot potential for a lot of characters. A lot of characters that she could barely one-shot, like Apocalypse with the CTP of regen or whatever, now she couldn't one-shot them at all, right? And they would survive. And then when they survive, they turn around and they do their skills, and she can't survive. She can't tank that. On the PvE side of things, Captain Marvel was never that. She was good, but she was never like that amazing besides ABX. But now with ABX changing and doing a paralyzed month, and then next month we're going to have a burn month, Captain Marvel just doesn't have any of those effects. She only has silence on 2 skills, on 1 with binary or 1 with radiant form, and then on her tier 3. And so because of that, now Carol is only useful for 1 month out of 3, which means she's only useful 33% of the time for the year, whereas other characters like Medusa or others are available all the time or much more of the time. I mean, Medusa has what? She's got burn there. She's got paralyzed on another skill for sure. No, she doesn't. Oh, silence there and then paralyzed there. Yeah, so Medusa's got all 3 abilities. So whereas Medusa may not score as high as Carol on the silence month, Medusa's available and useful for all 3 months, giving you a much more consistent score. And so that's sort of the story for Captain Marvel in PvE and PvP. Last but not least, number 5 on the list. This is a non-tier 3, non-awakened character, but this one took a massive hit. You may not be able to guess. I'll give you a second while I sip this juicy water. Melted ice cubes in my water. Just adds some additional flavor. Wasp. Yeah, Wasp. Now, I will admit, Wasp did not have a ton of value in the game, but her value was very obvious a year ago, etc., for PvP. She was the PvP linchpin before Colossus. Before Colossus got his uniform, every team had Wasp, or almost every team had Wasp, because you slap a leadership character in the front who has decent damage, then you slap your main killer in the second slot who has more damage, like let's say Scarlet Witch in the front, Jean Grey second, and then Wasp in the back, right? Wasp is giving you that debuff removal so that you can use the 40% energy attack leadership from Scarlet Witch or whatever it might be. You want to use Captain America? Okay, so use Captain America in the second slot. In the first slot, you use, I don't know, Apocalypse, or you use someone who has a physical damage leadership or an all-attack leadership, Cyclops or whatever, and then you use Wasp in the back. But then Colossus came along and he was like, well, would you rather have your debuffs or would you rather just take 50% less damage from all sources? And people were like, you know what? I'd rather take 50% less damage. And then Mystique and Taskmaster come along and they're like, would you rather have debuff removal or would you rather go back to one-shotting all of your enemies? And then whether they're heroes or villains. And then people were like, I'd rather just one-shot everyone than have this like massive slugfest. So Wasp's value just keeps decreasing as more more spicier supports come out. And so you go to Timeline Battle now, and even though I believe Jean Grey is banned, right? I can't even cycle through teams. Jean Grey is banned, which means one of the key debuff leaderships is banned, but you go ahead and look at the teams, and Wasp is not anywhere on any of these teams. She's gone, baby. Now, part of Wasp being gone is also due to the fact that a lot of debuff leaderships have gotten huge reworks, a la Dormammu and Silver Surfer. But even then, most people are opting for 2 massive DPS monsters like Dormammu and Quicksilver, Black Widow, Hulk, etc., and then just throwing Colossus there at the end. This is the sort of primetime team now. If Quicksilver, if Jean Grey was around, then it would just be whatever, Silver Surfer, Jean Grey, Colossus, or what have you. But Wasp was basically gone. No one uses Wasp. Seriously, find me a team in Vibranium that uses Wasp. I can't speak for all of the other timeline leagues, but I cannot remember the last time I fought a Wasp in PvP. Even this guy that came up from Platinum is not using Wasp. So yeah, the other problem with Wasp is that she just doesn't do anything. Colossus can get you some kills, right? He's really not that bad damage wise. Once Wasp is your final character, you've lost already. She doesn't do any damage. She tickles the enemy. Most enemies heal now in PvP, so she just has no chance of ever getting a kill and actually getting a win. Remember back in the day when Wasp could stall out and kill Thanos? Yeah, we are far away from that. If you stall out, they're just going to tier 3 you. So those 5 characters, in my opinion, have fallen off. Let me know if you guys want to see a part 2 of this video where I talk about 5 other characters who I think have fallen off in the last 6 months to a year. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.